Chưa gặp em, tôi đã nghĩ rằng có nàng thiếu nữ đẹp như trăng.
I wish I could have been alone like before and meditate on the sound method because I knew it would help me recover quickly.
Yes.
I wish so much in my heart that I could, but I could not. My hands were tied with all the tubes.
Wow.
Yes, I understand.
Yes.
And I was even fenced in the bed because I worried that I would fall down, for example, like that.
Oh my God.
I could not get up by myself.
Oh.
I had to push the bed until it went up like 45 degrees.
Yes.
Otherwise, every time I tried to get up myself, I was in excruciating pain.
Wow.
Pain that I could not even utter one word of scream.
Oh no.
You just sit there like you were paralyzed from head to toe.
Oh.
You could not even scream. And sometimes the nurse would ask me things I could not answer. And they were angry with me.
Oh.
Just because I could not talk at that time. I could not do anything. Later, I had to apologize, but they did not believe me.
Oh.
And they banged the bed and gave me more pain.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, instead of slowly letting the bed down, they made it very fast. So my body banged on the frame of the bed.
Oh.
Yes.
With the bed together, of course, but it banged very hard.
Yes.
I could not even scream. Later, I apologized and I explained, and then they came and apologized to me. One of the nurses was very nasty. I guess she just misunderstood. She had a hard time in the hospital.
Yes.
Being a nurse is not always good.
Yeah.
Not always people thanking you. Sometimes they yell at you. Very ungrateful. Because they're in pain.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They don't know anything anymore. I apologized, but she did not accept. And later, when the doctor operated on me already, and I came back to the same hospital, she still didn't say anything. She knew that I was really in pain then, because I explained. Otherwise, whatever I told her, she did not understand. She thought I was just playing for attention or being stubborn.
Yes, Master.
Then sometime later on, the patient next to me was still not recovered. And I had already been operated on and came back and had the chance to recover. So I gave her something. I said, this is a good blessing for you. You will be attended to and recover soon like me. Hold it. And then the nurses saw that because the other nurse gave me that gift. She said, this is very good for you. The good nurse, yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
And then the bad nurse saw that, and she came and kneeled next to my bed and said, sorry.
Wow.
She said, you are my teacher. You are in pain and you are suffering so much, and you still think of other people. Whereas I was treating you very badly. She said, sorry. I said, no, I think you just misunderstood. Because I could not explain. I was so much in pain. I felt so useless, so burdensome to all of you, and I didn't know how to explain this. It was just a terrible pain. And the doctor couldn't find out what it was all this time.
Yes.
Yes.
And some even thought I was faking it and treated me badly also, even doctors.
Wow.
And later on, one of the initiates, a brother doctor came, and then he guessed he has some experience with this type of sickness. He talked to other doctors at home, and then he recommended, he said to those doctors, please send her to that kind of hospital to see if it's something else.
Yes, Master.
So they sent me to the next hospital, and the doctor immediately operated on me.
Wow.
I mean, immediately the next morning. I was there like evening, and they prepared the next morning for operation.
Wow.
They could not wait longer, otherwise I would be paralyzed, he told me. And it's true like that. They all knew that afterwards. Anyway, it's a long story. It's a long story. I suffer not only the pain, but all this mistreatment as well. It just works karma, yeah?
Oh.
Also, I didn't meditate well enough
Yes, Master.
because I took care of too many things. Too many disciples came and wanted my attention, especially at that time in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Master.
I just wanted to tell you all this. So you know, don't wait until that time.
Yes,
Yes,
Master.
Master.
You are not like ordinary disciples. Just meditate the 2.5 hour requirement. No. You must do at least 4 hours.
Yes,
Yes,
Master.
Master.
I mean, a solid 4 hours, or you'll be in trouble, or you will leave, or something will happen that you have to go, or you get sick.
Yes, Master.
Yes, Master. Yes, Master.
If you still have good meditation, and maybe you sick a little bit or can be cured, but if it's too much, then you will probably go goodbye. And goodbye in the lower level, not in higher level and liberated.
Yes,
Yes,
Master.
Master.
Don't think that you are initiated by Master and then you are covered. No. You got to eat your food as well.
Yes,
Yes,
Master.
Master.
Like people outside, the homeless, they're hungry, we give them food, we give them shelter, but they have to use it.
Right.
That's right, Master. Right,
Yes.
Master.
The food is in plenty and is free of charge, but they must eat.
Yes.
Yes,
They must eat nutritious food. They cannot go back to their old habits, maybe drugging, smoking, drinking,
Mm-hmm. Yes, Master.
Yes, Master.
or go digging in the garbage and don't go in the house to sleep.
Yes.
This is just an example for you. I hope it's practical enough for you to understand.
Yes, Master.
Yes, Master. I understand.
Long ago, I used to travel a lot to different countries. And sometimes in the aeroplane, there was so much thick, dark, heavy karma. And I felt so bad. I felt so restless.
Yes.
And I wanted to even go and punch the window to jump out of the airplane, that bad.
Wow.
Oh, but I had to swallow it on. I wish I could meditate on Kuan Yin, because if you do the sound in that situation, immediately you would feel peace and calm.
Yes.
Yes.
Master.
So sometimes I had to go and lock myself in the toilet,
Mm-hmm.
that
Right.
dirty public toilet in the airplane, to do some, to calm myself.
Yes, Master.
Yes, Master.
And they banged at my door, of course. They would not leave me in peace,
Mm.
because you cannot be there too long.
Right.
Right.
People will think you smoke or do drugs in there, yeah?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, Master.
They have the right to suspect you,
Right.
Yes, Master.
because that's the place where you have privacy.
Right,
Yes.
Master.
So somehow I would find a corner in the back of the cabin, and I cover myself from head to toe and did some Kuan Yin.
Mm.
But very short, because the stewardess always came up and down, in and out, and they look at you and suspiciously they would touch you. They say, "Are you all right?"
Yes.
Nobody would cover from head to toe and sit in like that.
That's right.
So you always had to be vigilant, yeah?
Yes. Yes.
And always had to cut it off. But a few minutes, or maybe 1 or 2 minutes, better than nothing.
Right.
Yes.
Otherwise, I could go crazy on the aeroplane.
Yes,
Understand.
Master.
Sometimes I didn't even want to go on the aeroplane, like fear of flying.
Oh.
Oh,
I
yes.
never had the fear of flying. Just after I had so many disciples, it became different like that.
Oh.
Oh.
I flew when I was even a teenager already, or younger, because I studied far away.
Yes.
And I flew back home to see my parents or my sister and relatives. I flew all the time in Vietnam, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, especially during the war. It was safer.
Yes,
Yes,
Master.
Master.
My parents let me fly instead of going on the buses, because maybe there were mines on the street, on the road. It happened all the time.
Yes, Master. Yes.
They just bury mines. The opposite force at that time from the north, they bury mines in the streets.
Oh.
Oh.
And if the bus drove over it, boom,
Oh.
everybody would die.
Gosh.
Often.
Yes,
Yes.
Master.
Maybe they didn't mean that for the civilians, maybe just for the South Army.
Mm-hmm.
But how can you avoid that? It's the civilians who also use the roads.
Right.
Yes, Master.
How can you avoid it?
Yes.
That's a lot of problems. War is bad. Terrible. My teacher was also shot, died.
Oh.
Because in any village or any province or city, they organize the civilian groups to guard the entrance of their village or their city.
Yes, Master.
And so the North Army just shot them at that time, because they also counted as an enemy,
Yes,
Oh,
Master.
I see.
even though they were just civilians and they were forced to do that. If you didn't do that, you would be put in a hat-on as the communist or communist sympathizer or spy, and then they would jail you anyway. They would beat you up, torture you, and ask you to confess. It happened to my father also.
Oh.
He was jailed for nothing. I know. In the war, nobody can be spared anything. You could always be wrongly accused, jailed, beat up, or tortured anytime by just a glimpse of suspicion or by some people who don't like you and who just accuse you.
Yes,
Yes,
Master.
Master.
It's funny. during the war, the South government jailed my father for being a suspected communist.
Oh.
I told you the story already. Until my mother was so sick, I had to travel. I was only 7, 8 years old. I traveled alone to beg the prison to let my father go home for some hours to save my mother, because we didn't have a good hospital in that area and she could not travel. She was so sick after giving birth to my sister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I told you the story already, so I don't want to repeat it.
Yes,
Yes,
Master.
Master.
My father was jailed during the war because he was accused of being a communist sympathizer. At that time, it's like a traitor.
Yes,
Yes.
Traitor, or what else is the name for that? Anyway, betraying your country. Of course, the two sides fighting, and if you are with the enemies, then you're a traitor.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Treason also. Treason is another name for it. You committed treason.
Yes.
So my father was jailed for being a traitor, for being a communist supporter, or communist mole, or hidden spy. And after the communists took over the South, he was jailed again for not being a poor laborer.
Wow.
Oh.
They classify the rich, wealthy, and the landowners. My family own land also.
Yes.
You have land like rice field, and you let the laborers come and work on it, and you share the harvest.
Yes, Master.
Yes, Master.
Because of that, my parents also got jailed and sent to labor camps,
Oh.
education camps, they call it.
Oh.
Yes,
Yes.
Master.
Yes.
Master.
So, if you are with the enemy or not, you also had trouble. And after the enemy already took over the country, the enemy also jail you. Oh man, what a word.
Yes,
Yes,
Master.
Master.
My father was neither an enemy nor foe, nothing. He did nothing. He just took care of people who were sick.
Yes, Master.
Just a medical person. And he took care also of sick animal people. That's all he did. Nothing else. And my mother was just selling stuff. She was just a merchant,
Yes.
selling cloth for making clothes.
Yes.
I said both of them just worked to keep their family fed and clothed. That's all. But anybody can say anything.
Yes.
And by the time they check you out or not check you out, you are already black and blue. Whether or not you can prove your innocence, that's another thing.
Yes.
Because sometimes maybe they got someone else who also knew my father. Everybody knew him. In a small area, everybody knows everybody.
Right.
Yes, Master.
So because they beat him up so badly and tortured him so much, he just said any name.
Oh.
So my father's name was on the list. So they just captured him and jailed him.
Wow.
And later, after the communists already took over the South and became one country, he also was jailed in the labor camp.